Imagine waking up to find your favorite crypto project embroiled in a full-on drama. I'm talking FBI investigation, a blockchain split into two, and a top developer rage quitting in public. Sounds like a Netflix plot, right? But that is exactly what happened to Cardano this week, and as an ADA holder myself, I've got feelings about this. And today, I'm going to be sharing the wild story of how a single rogue transaction broke Cardano, why Charles Hoskinson, Cardano's founder, called in the feds, and what it all means for all of us in the crypto and Cardano community. Trust me, bro, you will want to stick around for this because it's one of those did this really just happen moments in crypto that we need to talk about. Alright, so let me set the scene. It's a normal day in Cardano land. The sun is shining on blockchain until boom, someone accidentally partitioned the Cardano network. Yep, you heard that right. A stake pool operator known by the alias Homer J was doing a bit of vibe coding, basically tinkering around, probably for fun or testing. Maybe it was malicious, who knows? And on November 21st, he submitted a transaction that had some poisonous effects. This single transaction caused the Cardano mainnet to fork into two separate realities. Picture this: one version of the blockchain had Homer's bad transaction clogging it up, and the other version was running normally without that bad block. For a moment in time, Cardano literally had two histories running in parallel, kind of like a multiverse, but definitely not the kind of sci-fi adventure we want for our finances. As you can imagine, chaos ensued behind the scenes. The developers and engineers jumped into action. Teams from the Cardano Foundation, Intersect, and Input Output Global, that's Hoskinson's company, all huddled together in what they called a war room. The mission: get everyone, that's exchanges, stake pool operators, anyone running a Cardano node, to update their software immediately and squash that bad fork. Essentially, they had to issue a hotfix on the fly and convince the whole network to just accept it. That's not a simple task, but this is what these guys train for. It's almost like dealing with a sudden outbreak: contain the spread, patch the vulnerability, and keep the system healthy. Now here's where the plot thickens. While the devs were scrambling to fix the mess, Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson, decided to call in the FBI. Yes, you heard me right, the actual Federal Bureau of Investigation. Charles was not treating this like a random oopsie that could be fixed moment. He straight up went onto social media and said, I'm paraphrasing here of course, "I support pressing criminal charges against whoever did this." In fact, he was referring to the incident as if it were akin to a hack. You know, like the infamous DAO hacker situation back in the Ethereum's early days. Charles believed this wasn't just an innocent mistake by a curious coder. He suggested it was a malicious, premeditated attack by a disgruntled stake pool operator. And he was dead serious, so serious that he had the FBI start investigating the case before the network was even fixed and the new update fully rolled out. When I first read that, my jaw almost, well, I would say dropped, but I promise not to use those cliches. And besides, I wouldn't be about to spit out my drink or fall off my chair either. Let's just say I was stunned. I mean, think about it. Cardano has always marked itself as a slow and steady, academic, rigorous blockchain. It's the last project you would expect to have FBI agents snooping around its development offices. And as somebody who's pretty invested in Cardano's success, I mean, I even run a Cardano stake pool with the ticker Cheek, more on that later, the whole situation had me equal parts worried and captivated. It felt like watching your favourite team suddenly burst into a brawl on the field. You can't look away, but you're also going, oh no, what does this mean for us? Let's pause here for a critical second because I need to make something crystal clear before we go further. This might actually shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all your money you invest. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, breathe easy. We had to get that out of the way. Now it's time to get back to the story, because it gets crazy. Yes, really. So enter Roman, a senior developer at IOG Input Output Global, one of the guys working on Cardano's core technology, when he saw Charles essentially, stating that the feds were going to be getting involved. Roman had an extreme reaction. He quit publicly. He basically said, I'm out of here. I didn't sign up for this. To give you his own words, Roman posted, and I am summarizing, if the Cardano community wants me to keep securing the computational layer, they better compensate me handsomely for the risk I had no idea I was taking on. That's a direct quote from his resignation announcement. In plain English, he's saying he had no clue that working on Cardano might one day involve dealing with law enforcement or being exposed to legal risks, and unless he's paid a lot more to justify that risk, he's not going to stick around anymore. Now, who is Roman and why does his exit matter? Well, he's not some random junior dev. This guy is a big deal for Cardano's security. In fact, Roman claimed that most of the vulnerabilities in Cardano's computational layer, think of this as the brains of Cardano where smart contracts run, were either discovered by him or came from his ideas. So losing him, ouch. That's potentially a major brain drain for Cardano. It's like running your own spaceship and the chief engineer, the one that knows all the quirks and has patched all the leaks, just walked off the job. You'd be worried, right? I know I am. Cardano's safety and future implementations could take a hit if someone of his caliber is gone. What drove him to such an extreme stance though? Roman basically blamed Charles Hoskinson's handling of the situation. He was uncomfortable, maybe even afraid that people of Cardano, his words, might come after him or others with legal action over development mishaps. From his perspective, Charles Hoskinson's decision to publicly accuse someone of being a criminal to 1 million followers before any official investigation concluded was over the line. Roman literally said to Charles, again paraphrasing a direct quote, "You want to be grown up and call the feds? Fine. But be a grown up and let them do their job before calling someone a criminal in front of an audience of over 1 million people. I mean, burn. I mean, call out your own boss and founder of a project like that is bold. It shows just how strongly he disagreed with Charles' approach. Now, Charles Hoskinson is never one to shy away from a debate, especially on social media. How do you think he responded? He basically said Roman's rationale was, quote, complete bullshit and ridiculous. Charles firmly believes he did the right thing. In his view, Cardano wasn't facing a mere oopsie bug under the attack. He linked it to someone maliciously attacking a public network and potentially, derailing millions of users of their rights or their funds by causing chaos. Charles argued that Cardano even has the sort of constitution or social contract that everyone agrees to. And if someone violates that, with a potential attack, well, face the consequences and it's fair game. We have a duty to file a complaint and let them investigate, he said, in short. From Charles Hoskinson's perspective, not involving the authorities would have been irresponsible. He even shared some details suggesting the culprit was a known, I guess, individual that run a stake pool, and is implying this was sabotage and not an accident. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. So here we are, a beloved project suddenly in storm of accusations and resignations. On one side, you have Cardano's figurehead going full sheriff mode, and on the other, a key developer walking away because he fears that very sheriff. If you're feeling a bit torn about who's right here, you're not alone. The Cardano community itself is well and truly divided. Some folks say, yeah, get that bad actor, protect the network at all costs. Others are shaking their heads. This is not a good look, Charles. You're scaring your team and making us look really bad. I saw one comment on X, formerly known as Twitter, and the user quoted something along the lines of bragging about calling the feds on somebody vibe coding your blockchain to a complete halt. Isn't the flex you think it is, Charles? That one made me chuckle and wince at the same time. As a Cardano enthusiast, this whole saga hit me hard. I've been in the Cardano ecosystem for a while now. I stake my ADA. I even run my own Cardano stake pool called Cheek, Cheek. Shameless plug. If you're holding ADA and you haven't staked yet, you might want to check out our stake pool. It's a great way to make your ADA work harder for you rather than just sitting idle waiting for the price to moon. The cool thing about Cardano staking is your ADA isn't locked up. You remain in full control and you can move your ADA anytime. And if you're already staking with someone else but you want to support this channel, move your ADA to Cheek Pool and it's super easy and truly helps us make these videos. So yeah, I'm really passionate about Cardano's success. To see this kind of internal conflict is both disheartening and a reality check. Now, is it the end of Cardano as we know it? Well, I don't think so, but it does raise some tough questions. Cardano has always prided itself on being more decentralized and community governed than, say, a single company project. Yet here we are, the founder using arguably centralized muscle, his influence and the law enforcement to enforce order. That tension between decentralization and centralized action is something many crypto projects definitely struggle with. Perhaps this incident will spark discussion in Cardano's community about formalizing how to handle network incidences. Maybe we'll see clearer protocols or even a community-driven response for future emergencies, rather than just a one man to call the FBI. On the other hand, maybe Charles' decisive action prevented a worse outcome. It's hard to say. The network itself, by the way, is now fine. That forked chain with the poison transaction, well, it got isolated and died off once the patch was widely adopted. The healthy chain prevailed, so technically Cardano handled the incident, maybe even gracefully, considering the circumstances. In fact, ADA's price barely blinkered through all of this. Last I checked, it was still holding the mid 40-cent range. Not exactly a moonshot, but this is the point. No investor panic or huge dump because of this action. That tells me that maybe the broader market isn't too worried, or maybe they didn't even realize anything happened, which definitely is possible since the network was fixed so quickly. For me personally, this drama reinforces a couple of lessons about this crypto space. First, it underscores why I always plan for the unexpected. We just saw how one unexpected glitch shook up Cardano. Likewise, think about crypto exchanges. We've all seen exchanges suddenly go down or freeze withdrawals when things get a bit choppy. Remember the chaos around major exchange outages, or worst case, an exchange collapse like FTX did. One thing I always do, and I strongly recommend you consider, is having multiple exchange accounts set up and verified. Seriously, it's part of my personal strategy. I sign up, KYC, and test many exchanges as I possibly can, because you never know, one exchange might actually have an issue, and if exchange A goes down at a critical moment and I want to, withdraw crypto or cash out, I can then move to plan B, plan C, or even go further using other exchanges. This way, if I ever need to trade or withdraw funds, I can do it at any time and I won't be stuck or freak out. So do yourself a favor, at least have one backup exchange account. Now, a quick disclosure since I mentioned exchanges. All the exchange links on my website, which is linked in the description of this video, are affiliate links, which means if you use them, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does support this channel. Thank you, by the way. I've got links to platforms I personally use like BitGet and Blowfin, among others. These are exchanges I've tested and trust enough to keep as backups myself. So if you're looking to open a new account, feel free to check those out. Just know that they are affiliate links that help us out here. Supporting this channel via these links is always appreciated, of course. Whether you're using links or not, the key message is still the same. Have backups ready. In crypto, 1 minute everything's normal, the next minute an exchange is down or a blockchain splits into two. Be prepared. By the way, if you enjoy discussing these types of developments or just want to be in a community to bounce ideas off, let me invite you to our free educational Discord server, link in the description of this video. We've got a bunch of like-minded folk in there. It's totally free, and it's where we share news, strategy, memes, you name it. When it comes to breaking Cardano news, you bet it's blowing up in the Discord. I love that we can all learn from each other and stay sane in a volatile crypto world. So yeah, hop in if you're around and want to chat. Now let's shift gears for a moment. I want to share something interesting that's been on my radar lately. In the midst of all this Cardano hoo-ha, I've been exploring a new project called Unity Nodes. You might have heard me mention this before. It's not the main focus of today's video, but it's cool enough of a concept for it to become a big part of my crypto journey. Unity Nodes is a project founded by World Mobile and Minutes Network, and it's been generating buzz for the novel way to earn passive crypto. The idea is pretty straightforward. You run nodes, think of them as mini cell towers or network points, using everyday devices like smartphones, and you get rewarded for your contributions on the network coverage and data. Decentralizing mobile networks, essentially. How cool is that? So I actually went ahead and purchased a Unity node myself, which came with licenses to run up to 200 of these nodes. Now, don't get me wrong, the idea, I didn't immediately want to set up 200 devices in some mad scientist lab or anything like that. I'm starting small, testing 10 phones to begin with to see how it all works. And, how does it work in practice, I guess? If it goes well, then it might be worth, scaling up gradually. What's, exciting is the rewards from Unity nodes can be paid in various different cryptocurrencies. I've opted to be paid in BTC, ETH, ADA and XRP. So potentially it's a way for me to stack more crypto passively over time if the project succeeds. Imagine earning a little Bitcoin, a little Cardano, etc., just by having some devices running. That's passive income in the crypto world, which always gets me excited. Now, I want to stress I'm just testing this as an experiment. It's a great concept, but with anything new, I approach it with caution and optimism. Do your own research if you're interested. In fact, I'll put a link in the description of today's video to Unity's light paper and their rewards calculator so you can check the details yourself. It's a great breakdown of how everything works and what you might earn. I love that the community has heard of Unity nodes already. It's not a brand new concept for many of you. So I don't want to hype it up too much. But I will say it's nice to see projects like that blend of real world infrastructure like using actual phones and network hardware with blockchain tech. It reminds me that crypto isn't just about charts and trading. It's about innovative ideas that could change how we do things in the future, even something as everyday as mobile connectivity. Okay, come back to the Cardano situation for a moment to round things off. What's the big takeaways from all of what's going on? For me, it's a reminder that even the projects we trust and love are not without their human, dramas and technical hiccups. Cardano faced a pretty bizarre crisis, a network split, and an FBI cameo, and it came out the other side with some scars, sure, but also some lessons learnt. It shows that Cardano's community and devs can mobilize quickly when needed. It also exposes cracks in the internal dynamics that might need patching up, like how to handle rogue incidences and how to keep talent like Roman feeling secure and valued. As an ADA holder, I'm obviously going to keep a close eye on what's happening. Will Roman depart slow down the upcoming Cardano developments? Possibly in short term, but did hint he might still contribute to Cardano in other ways, just not under IOG roof. And maybe this was a wake-up call for Charles and the leadership too, a chance to improve how they respond to future issues in a way that doesn't alienate their team or community. In a strange way, this whole ordeal might push Cardano to evolve its governance, decentralized ecosystem, having growing pains, and maybe this was one of them. One thing's for sure, crypto never gets boring. Just when you think you've seen it all, something new happens, good, bad, or just plain weird. That's why I love sharing these stories with you. Hey, despite the drama, I'm still here, staking my ADA, testing new ideas like Unity nodes, and hanging out in the Discord with you guys, and diversifying my exchanges to stay safe. The journey continues, and I'm happy to have you on the ride with me. If you found this story enlightening or entertaining, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and maybe the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in the never-ending crypto saga. We've got plenty more to talk about in the coming days. Who knows what next? Hopefully fewer FBI agents though. Until next time, hit the like button, stay safe out there, stay informed, and as always, stay cheeky. I'll see you in the next one.